Hello, and welcome to Losing My Knit. If you are watching this and you're a usual subscriber, or you watch my usual episodes, you're going to be like, wait, why is Jeff uploading episodes not on the first Saturday of the month? I'm going to try something a little bit different. I have pulled a clip from my long episode to upload as sort of a small mini recording. I think there's two parts that I talked about in this episode that are good standalone content pieces for people who don't necessarily want to watch the whole episode, or who are interested in either the cost of making a project for a larger person, or the yarn drama that happened this month. Hopefully it will work out. Hopefully you like this smaller, pulling the section out. If you've watched my podcast, you don't need to watch this unless you want to rehash it or slow it down and look at all the weird funny faces that I make. But yeah, let me know what you think, if it's worth pulling these out. If you're someone who doesn't watch the long form but like these little mini, these were my two TED Talks from this episode, but if you like these, let me know and I might be able to pull a couple out again in the future. So yeah, I don't know how long they are, but hopefully you will find them informative. I just feel like they deserved their own moment in the sunlight because of sort of how important one is to me and how important one is and impacts a large group of our yarn community. So let me know your feedback below. And if you watch the full one and you watch this one, hi, thanks for watching even more. And I will lead into those two clips. Hi, editing Jeff here. I'm not really editing. I already edited the other ones. Video went live. Monthly video went live. A couple of people have pointed out a couple of things that I really should have emphasized more in the when I was talking about costs. I think the three big things I will say are, one, pattern designers oftentimes do have yarn support, and so that's why you see it. You know, a lot of patterns are designed to support yarn, to sell yarn, so that's a big one. Two, there's a great website that if you're looking for substitution, it's yarnsub.com. Not all yarns on there. Newer yarns definitely aren't on there, but it's definitely something to look at. And then the third one, I didn't really talk about, is garments are expensive for everybody. You know, like 3 skeins is $90 if you average indie dyed or high-end. So they are expensive for everyone, but as you get to those last couple of largest sizes, oftentimes it jumps up 2, maybe 3 skeins per size. And so that was really just the one thing I wanted to say. So just some early feedback people shared, and since I'm putting this out separately, I thought I would throw that in there. Back to other Jeff. My third object is a statement piece. It is the Trinigan cardigan by Andrea Mowry. It is my first cardigan. It was a journey. A couple of things I learned before I show it to you. One, trust the pattern. The sleeves I think are supposed to be 3/4. Mine look closer to full length. Two, if it splits for like left front and left right, like a cardigan or a V-neck or anything like that, I now know I need to do this 2 at a time. One side somehow had more stitches but had the same number of pattern repeats, so I'm not 100% sure what happened there. And it's not even the pickup. Like, the pickup was, I was doing it right, but there were just so many more on the one side. Whatever, it's a ribbed collar, you can't tell, but that is telling me that, so like I've got a couple of sweaters where I know they split for left and right front. Coming up in the near future, I will be doing them 2 at a time, just so that I can make sure the rows are the same. Probably should also do sleeves 2 at a time. I don't think I didn't do that with this. They match, I counted. But the good part is it's designed to be oversized. So that part didn't matter as much. And color too, and it's a house, it'll be a house cardigan for me. I don't really think it's something that I would wear out. Maybe to walk the dog, we'll see. I promise I'll show you in a second. The other thing that I really liked about it was the 3-needle bind off. So it's a visible seam at the shoulders, just to kind of create, one, I loved how much structure it gives, and then 2, I really liked that contrasting shoulder. Yeah, so are you all ready to see this? Here it is. It's my cardigan. Okay, so let's see. So this is what it looks like. Not on. I'll put it on in a second. I'm still trying to cool off. But these are the sleeves. Really big. It's kimono inspired, I think. But I love this detail. It doesn't stand out quite as much, but the 3-needle bind off. I debated doing it in the lighter green, but then I was like, that might be way too bright. I kind of wish I had, but I like look how strong that seam is there. So, yeah, there it is. And then the collar. I do love the collar. It's a simple, I don't know, 2x2 rib, I think. Italian bind off. Took forever. I'm talking hours, but 100% worth it. I did switch it to 1x1 ribbing, and then you kind of graft it together. Yeah, that's it. So this is what it looks like on. We're gonna try it on, see how it looks. Oh, my desk might need to go up a little so you can actually see it. No buttons. It's not designed to have buttons. It's designed to be worn open. Yeah. The length is good. I could imagine doing it even longer and like having like a mini house coat. But yeah, the sleeves were designed to be 3/4. Mine are full length kimono sleeves. But it's, you know, it works. I love the neck. Yeah, there it is. I love it. It's going to be so nice in winter. I'm going to be sitting here at my desk, typing away, working in it. But yeah, and these details, I loved the way that it ended up striping. So again, the colors I use, and I like the inside. Look at the inside. Like, look at those, the way the colors go. So the darker color is Deep Sea. This is Cascade 220 Wave Superwash. The lighter color, so the contrast color here, the lighter greens and the lighter blues you see in the background is blue-green. So same Cascade 220 Superwash Wave. That's what it looks like. I would keep it on, but just having it on for like the last 30 seconds, do a little dab. I'm sweaty. But like, can you imagine like coming in to a Zoom meeting and I'm there and I'm just like, hello, how are you? Like, look at, it tickles me. Look how cute this is. And the sleeves, like, what is this? But anyway, so I love it. It's, I'm so glad I did it. I knocked the mic off the table. That was going to be funny. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I made it. I don't think I would make it again, and I'll talk about why in a second. That's my Trinigan cardigan. So, the piece that I want to talk about, where I want to spend a little bit of time on this as a finished object, is the cost. So, I made it in, it was designed for SpinCycle's Dyed in the Wool Trine yarn base, and that's what Andrea and Mowry made hers in, and I did not. So one of the things, I had this random idea last episode, is that I want to talk about what I spent and what the designer cost would be, what the cost would be if I did it in the yarn of the designer. So I made size 8 of 9. There's 9 sizes, super size inclusive. I probably could have made a 7, but as you saw, it kind of just closed over my stomach. But I wanted a little oversized. It's really big in the sleeves. Love it. I made size 8 of 9. What that meant is, according to the Ravelry page, I would need 1,800 yards in the main color, so that darker blue, and 450 yards in the contrasting color. Oh, I forgot something. And so I ended up buying, let's see. Okay, actually, let's keep going with the pattern. So that would mean, so for the 1,800 yards of the main color and the 450 yards in the contrasting color, in Trine by SpinCycle, you would need 12 skeins, so they're 50 grain skeins of the main color, and 6 skeins of the contrasting color. I ordered, so then I used Cascade 220 Superwash, totally different price point, I'll talk about that in a second. I didn't script this out very well. I'm like, I want to share this information because it had such an impact on me when I actually did the numbers. So anyway, so 12 skeins of the main, 6 for the contrast. Right now, SpinCycle, it's on sale for $22. So for those 18 skeins, it would be $396. Full price, Trine is $32. So full retail price, that would be $576 for those 18 skeins. $576. That's $500,000. That's a lot of money. To give Andrea Mowry credit, one of the things that she does is in each of her patterns, and I'm going to see if I can get this to work. I think it's this one. Yes, perfect. Okay. So you should now see that side. The pattern, the listing, the Trinigan pattern listing. So on all of her patterns, and this, kudos to her for doing this. If you scroll down, so all the way down at the bottom, after the gauge, after the technique, there's this section down here. All right, zoom in a little bit, where she does yarn substitution ideas. And what that does is you click on it and you get a PDF. And it's a very nicely designed PDF, and it's great. And broken down, she does this for each of her patterns. It's Trinigan Yarn Alternatives. She is very clear. Support your local yarn store if you can. She is very clear saying up here, they're merely suggestions. They haven't been tested necessarily. And then she breaks it down. So she's like main color alternatives. Harrisville, Stonehenge, Plymouth, Karen, Knit Picks. Love seeing Knit Picks on there. That's a more affordable yarn. Scroll down here, contrasting yarn. Same ones again, Lion Brand, affordable. So I love this. I absolutely think this is wonderful that she does this. I don't know if when she takes testers, she asks someone to knit it in a more affordable yarn. I know when I always apply to test, I tell people I'm going to do it in an affordable yarn because I am a larger size. It costs a lot of money. The thing, however, that drives me bonkers about this, like bonkers, let's just zoom in a little bit and see how she prices it. She doesn't put the cost of the skein. Almost all of these you can see are 100 gram skeins. We'll just scroll over, we'll see if they all are. So all of them except for the Knit Picks, that's a weird one, and Sedness Garn. She puts the price per yard. Now I can appreciate that. From a math perspective, I can appreciate it. Because the SpinCycle Trine yarn for a price per yarn at full cost is 21 cents. So every one of these are at least a third cheaper. And in this case, the Knit Picks case, it's, I can't do that math, 140% cheaper or something like that. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Seven times cheaper. And that's helpful. But who buys yarn by the yard? Like, what? Like, why is this, how is this helpful? Yeah, and so like that just, I was just like, are you kidding me? So like, sure, okay, I can spend, what was it, 573 or close enough, and then I can just do, yeah, yeah. But, okay, so the problem I have with this is that you can't buy yarn by the yard. When you go over just one skein, you still have to buy the 100 grams. You still have to buy the 219 yards. Or in the Trini case, you have to buy the extra 50 grams. So, like, this means nothing. Like, this is not very helpful. Like, it does give you a price point, and you can try and get as close as possible. You can save that little bit of money, but, like, that's a struggle for me, because it's like, okay, that's not helpful. Okay, so let me go back to the original. Okay, so then now, so what we're talking about, so if I would have made it in my size in the recommended yarn, it would have been $576. I want to acknowledge a lot of independent dyers, and even my local yarn store are now doing an anti-fat tax. First off, hate the name, but kudos for doing it. Most often they are 10%. So at full price, not including taxes. So I live in Massachusetts, we charge taxes, not as much as other states, the whole Taxachusetts thing. No. Yes, but not from sales tax. If you take 10% off of full retail price of $576, it's still $518.40. If you take 10% off of the current sale price of $396, it's still $356.40. That is a lot of money for a sweater that you are then going to spend countless hours knitting, frogging, knitting, tinking, frogging, seaming, soaking, blocking, and you're done. And you know, if you want to do that and you have the funds, kudos to you for doing that. But when I saw that number, that magic, it was over half a grand to make my size. The first thought that went through my head was like, when designers do this, and they make it size inclusive, which I appreciate, do they ever calculate that cost? Especially the ones who don't put alternatives like Andrea Mowry. Because, like, half a grand. So, in contrast, so let's keep that 596 number, or 570. Where'd the number go? 576 number. So if I had made it in the design of what they said, 576. I instead made it in Cascade 220 Superwash Wave. Cascade retails for about $13 a skein. I am paranoid, and I always buy slightly more than what they recommend. That is a me problem. That is not a designer problem. I have never once been burned of a designer saying you need this much. I bought exact that much and couldn't make it. I just know my gauge is sometimes super loose, so I'm going to need a little bit more, or I can't quite hit stitch count, and I'd rather go big than small. Gauge count. So I ended up buying 10 skeins of the deep blue. You'll hear about this. 10 skeins of this color, and 6 skeins of this color, the contrast color. As you can tell, I told you, I'm paranoid. I have leftovers. That is a me problem, not a designer problem. I bought too much. Remember when I panicked and was like, I'm not gonna get there? I bought an extra one. And then I still had, I think that's what this yellow note is, I still had 49 grams of this one left. Anyway, so, I bought some of it was on sale, some of it wasn't. I had to get it from two different, one from a local yarn store because they had just enough of the light blue, the blue-green color, and then the other I had to order online. So I paid 11, some I paid $10.50, some I paid $14, so like it varied. So I averaged it to $13. For my 16 skeins, I'm going to double check this math because I think I might be wrong. I paid $208. But I think I paid $208. If you take off the 3 that I bought because I'm paranoid, I paid $169. So skeins that I used, I paid $169. versus $576. That is 57% less than the Trine yarn when it's on sale. That is 70% less than the full price Trine yarn. Even if you add in those 3 extra skeins I bought because I was paranoid, 47% and 64%. That is how much money that I saved by using a cost-effective yarn. Again, this is not to rag on designers. That is not what this is. But this is more to say, hey, and I will actually, I'll show you this. I randomly saw this on YouTube the other day. It'll go right here. She's like knitting a $3 skein, or crocheting a $3 skein of yarn versus a $32 skein of yarn. And I laughed at it because I'm pretty sure it was a shirt in 1 skein of yarn. And I'm like, if I made a shirt in 1 skein of yarn, it would be like just the collar or just the hem. Like that, no one needs to see me in that. And it just made me laugh because I was like, here, hold my beer, hold my Coke, hold my tea, hold my coffee, whatever you drink. This is how much I could have spent, and this is how much I spent. Again, mind-boggling. Yeah, so that's I just wanted to share that because I do think, and this is on me, this is on no one else. When I hear people complaining about casting on X number of stitches or knitting stockinette in the round for a body of a sweater, and they're making like a size 2 or a size 3 or like a 40-inch circumference, I'm just like, really? Really? You're gonna complain about that when I'm over here knitting a 64 or a 68 circumference? 1, because I want that extra ease, and 2, because I'm tall, so I gotta do it even longer. I'm like, okay, go on with yourself. I'm just gonna not waste time and keep going with my stockinette over here. You learn to knit faster when you have to do bigger sizes because you want to get to the end. You're like, let me go. And a lot of larger sized people will actually choose not to make garments with smaller size yarns because it requires more, it takes so much longer, and it's a lot more work is put into it. And that's the whole drama around size inclusive testing times and that sort of thing. Like, it's all connected. But this expense piece was wild for me. So I'm going to be doing this moving forward. It won't be as in-depth. I think it'll be more of a, hey, this is what the pattern calls for. This is how much it would be. This is what I used. This is how much it was. Just to sort of shed some light on that. Because, yeah, you could not, even if you gave me $576, I wouldn't buy that yarn. I could get like 4 sweaters quantity in a Cascade 220, or Webb's, their brand Valley yarns. Like, I could get like 5 or 6 sweaters from that. I'm like, yes, it would be beautiful in SpinCycle Trine, but I am way too cheap for that. So I think this, yeah, anyway, I don't even know how long I've been talking about this. I apologize. I'm also going to try a thing where I'm going to pull this section out and upload it as a second video so that if people just want to hear about this, they can hear it. So if that's you and you're seeing this, hi! I find it really interesting, and so yeah, moving forward I will be doing it again, not as in-depth, more just an FYI of, hey, this is the yarn that was called for, this is what I would have spent, and this is what I'm spending. So, and again, thanks for watching. As I said, this is not a usual format for this channel. If you would like to listen to more or my full podcast episodes, those are published the first Saturday of each month. Sometimes they're shorter, 30 minutes. They seem to be tracking more towards an hour at this point. I aim for 45 minutes, but like I said, this was just a trial. I wanted to test pulling out a couple of sections and uploading. If you liked this, again, let me know below. If you didn't, or if you already got the content through the podcast, again, let me know below. I just want to sort of try some new things, and yeah, hopefully I will see you around again if this is your first time watching, and let me... Hopefully you'll come back again and check out one of the full longer episodes. I think a couple will pop up here. And this is, like I said, this is just a clip from that larger podcast that I really wanted to share. So my usual sign off is casting off for now. I will see you soon.